Welcome to History with Herodotus, where the boundaries of time and space are bridged by the power of storytelling. Today, we embark on a fascinating journey through the annals of one of the most revered cities in human history, Athens. As we delve into the captivating narrative of this iconic metropolis, you will be transported to a world of myth and legend, of philosophers and warriors, of artistic innovation and political upheaval. In the distant past, when the misty veil of mythology still shrouded the Greek landscape, the region that would eventually become Athens was inhabited by various tribes, including the Pelasgians and the Ionians. The earliest whispers of Athenian history date back to the Neolithic period, around 7000 BC, when the first settlers arrived in the area, drawn by the fertile soil and the natural harbor of Piraeus. As the centuries unfolded, these primitive communities coalesced into a loose network of villages, with the Acropolis, that majestic citadel of limestone and legend, serving as a sacred hub. The city's strategic location at the crossroads of trade routes facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures with other civilizations, including the Minoans and the Mycenaeans. The mythological figure of Cecrops, the first king of Athens, is said to have laid the foundations of the city, establishing the sacred precincts and inaugurating the worship of the gods. Although the historicity of such figures is shrouded in uncertainty, they remain an integral part of the Athenian narrative, embodying the city's deep connection with its mythological heritage. The advent of the Greek Dark Ages, around 1200 BC, marked a period of significant upheaval and transformation for Athens. As the Mycenaean palaces crumbled, the city's population dwindled, and the region was beset by invasions and migrations. Yet, even amidst this turmoil, the seeds of Athenian greatness were being sown. The oral traditions of Homer's epics, which would later become the cornerstone of Greek literature, began to take shape during this period, as traveling bards and poets wove tales of heroism and adventure that would inspire generations to come. As we approach the dawn of the Archaic period, around 800 BC, Athens begins to emerge from the shadows of obscurity. The city's economy starts to flourish, driven by the resurgence of trade and the exploitation of its rich agricultural resources. The introduction of the Greek alphabet, adapted from Phoenician script, facilitates the dissemination of knowledge and the development of a written tradition. The Athenian aristocracy, with their grand estates and patronage of the arts, begins to exert its influence, laying the groundwork for the city's future cultural and philosophical achievements. As the Archaic period unfolded, Athens witnessed a surge in artistic and architectural innovation, with the construction of grand temples and public buildings that would eventually become the hallmark of the city's classical era. The Athenian agora, once a humble marketplace, began to take shape as a vibrant hub of commercial and civic activity, with the introduction of the first minted coins around 570 BC, facilitating trade and commerce. The tyrant Pisistratus, who seized power in 561 BC, implemented a series of public works projects, including the construction of the Temple of Olympian Zeus, which would become one of the most iconic landmarks of ancient Athens. The Athenian economy continued to flourish, driven by the expansion of trade and the growth of a wealthy aristocracy. The introduction of the Solonian reforms in 594 BC, under the guidance of the wise statesman Solon, aimed to address the social and economic inequalities that had been simmering beneath the surface of Athenian society. These reforms, which included the cancellation of debts and the establishment of a more equitable system of governance, helped to stabilize the city's politics and pave the way for the emergence of a more democratic Athens. One of the most significant events in the history of Athens occurred in 508 BC, when the Athenians, led by Cleisthenes, overthrew the tyrant Hippias, marking the beginning of the end of tyranny in Athens. This pivotal moment, which has been hailed as the birth of democracy, saw the introduction of a new system of governance, with the establishment of the Bulla, a council of 500 citizens, and the creation of 10 tribes, each with its own distinct identity and responsibilities. As the 5th century BC dawned, Athens found itself at the forefront of a conflict that would shape the course of Western history, the Persian Wars. The Battle of Marathon in 490 BC, where a vastly outnumbered Athenian army, led by Miltiades, defeated the invading forces of Darius I, marked a turning point in the war and cemented Athens' reputation as a formidable military power. The victory was celebrated with great fanfare, with the poet Aeschylus, who had fought in the battle, composing a stirring ode to commemorate the occasion. The subsequent invasion of Greece by Xerxes I in 480 BC, which culminated in the Battle of Thermopylae and the eventual sack of Athens, proved to be a devastating blow to the city. Yet, even as the Athenians were forced to flee their homes and seek refuge in other parts of Greece, they remained resolute in their determination to resist the Persian invaders. The speech of the Athenian general Themistocles, who rallied his troops before the Battle of Salamis in 480 BC, has been immortalized in the words, "The battle will be won by those who have the courage to stand and fight for their city, their homes, and their freedom." As the Persian wars drew to a close, Athens emerged as a dominant force in the Greek world, its reputation as a beacon of democracy and freedom forever etched in the annals of history. The Golden Age of Pericles, which spanned from 495 to 429 BC, witnessed an unprecedented cultural and philosophical flowering, with iconic figures like Socrates, Sophocles, and Euripides leaving an indelible mark on Western civilization. The construction of the Parthenon, that majestic temple dedicated to Athena, remains one of the most enduring symbols of Athenian ingenuity and artistic expression. The subsequent Peloponnesian War, a devastating conflict that pitted Athens against Sparta from 431 to 404 BC, would ultimately prove to be a turning point in the city's fortunes. The war's aftermath saw Athens weakened, its economy ravaged, and its population decimated by the plague that swept through the city in 430 BC. Yet, even as the city struggled to come to terms with its newfound vulnerability, the seeds of its enduring legacy were being sown. The works of Athenian historians like Thucydides and Xenophon continue to shape our understanding of the ancient world, while the philosophical traditions established by Plato and Aristotle remain fundamental to Western thought. As the centuries passed, Athens would fall under the sway of various empires, from the Macedonians to the Romans, each leaving their own distinctive imprint on the city. The Byzantine era saw the rise of Christianity, with the iconic Church of the Holy Apostles becoming a testament to the enduring power of faith in the city. The Ottoman occupation, which lasted from 1458 to 1821, brought its own unique cultural and architectural influences, with the Mosque of Omar and the Bathhouse of the Winds standing as poignant reminders of the city's complex and multifaceted history. Today, Athens is remembered as a city that has given the world some of its most precious gifts: democracy, theater, philosophy, and the arts. As the Greek statesman Pericles so eloquently put it, "What you leave behind is not what is engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others." The history of Athens serves as a powerful testament to the enduring legacy of this ancient city. A reminder that even as empires rise and fall, the ideas and ideals that they embody can continue to shape the course of human history. The city's influence can be seen in the countless institutions and traditions that have been inspired by its example. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that, to understand the present, we must first understand the past.